Hey, fourth grade, and welcome to science class at home. So we've started our journal, Living Things, Structure and Function. We're continuing with this unit. Okay, so last time we talked about what living things need to survive, talked about basic life functions, and we were comparing plants and animals. And so we're going to continue that over the next several lessons, but I'm only going to take one at a time. So today it's going to be about plants. And what we're going to look at are the parts of plants, the purpose of those parts, and how humans might use them. Now, if we were in the classroom, your journal would look somewhat like this because I would have that outline, but we're not. Though I will scan this in if people wish to print it out. But I'm going to show you another way of preparing your notebook, okay, as if we weren't able to print anything out. Okay, so for now, though, we need to start with our I can statements. So again, just like in class, we begin with I can statements. I can label, that's our action word, so you know what you're doing, 4 primary parts of a flowering plant. I can write the purpose, and I will explain what purpose is later in the presentation, of each part. I can list at least one way humans use, and I'll be particular what that means, use each part. So before I walk you through a PowerPoint presentation, let's make sure we have our notebook, a pencil, and maybe some colored markers to have a little fun. So again, if you were able to print this out, you need to put the heading, parts of a plant. Don't worry, I'm also setting it up as if I couldn't print it out. So can you draw a picture of a plant? Preferably a flowering plant? Yeah, that's my cat Tigger. Okay, there's still one more item I have to include on here, but Tigger knocked off my marker. I'm going to find my black marker and I'm going to draw some roots in here as well. Okay, we are going to use both sides of the notebook. So we're going to be keeping information over here as well. And I'll show you during the presentation on how to set that up. So in the meantime, let's try to have your notebook somewhat similar. You don't have to draw exactly like this, but there are 4 parts we have to make sure we include. The flower, the stem, leaves, and then we're going to have some roots down in the ground. I have to go find my black marker. Plant parts, their purpose and uses. So again, we have our notebook, and on the other side, what I recommend doing is folding the paper in half and putting 2 headings. One side says purpose, the other side says human use. And I'm going to clarify what that means, purpose and human use. So there are 4 main or primary plant parts, okay? And I'll show you again as we look at the picture. Roots, so you'll notice I'm going to start at the bottom. Roots, stem, leaves, and flower, okay? Another part we'll mention are the seeds, because they play an important role as well, but we don't see the seeds here. They become a little addition afterwards. We'll continue to explain. So purpose and use. What's the difference? Well, the purpose is what does this part do for the plant? Okay, so why does the plant have this part? That's its purpose. And think about how it might help support the plant's growth and maturity. Now, use is just how humans might use it. Okay, it's just the way people might use this part of the plant. Okay, Our primary learning is really the purpose. Why does the plant have this part? And I thought, just for fun, let's check out the human use as well. So the first part is the roots. Okay. So I've already started. I wrote roots here. If you want to write roots here over on that part of your diagram too, and I think I will. Okay. What is the purpose of roots? I'll leave you for a moment to think about it. You can always hit pause. And if you have a sibling, you can quiz them or something at home as well. Okay. So here is the purpose. To absorb water and nutrients, and I actually prefer you write in pencil, because in case you miswrite something, you can always erase it. So much easier than trying to work with marker. Absorb water and nutrients from soil. That's its purpose. Okay. It has two purposes. It also will hold a plant in place. That means if it's windy out, the roots will hold that tree from blowing over. Hopefully, sometimes if it's too windy, it still gets knocked over, but the roots try to keep it in place. Uses. How do humans use roots? Really? We do? Think about it. Think about some foods you might eat. Okay. I'm actually going to change colors just because I want to write my carrots in color. Carrots. And turnips. So I use it as food. Oh, I can't read in yellow. That was probably not a good choice. Okay, so food. Now you do not have to write all these examples of uses in your notebook. Okay. You don't have to. I just recommend that maybe you write at least one. Okay, so you write whichever one you want. So we said food, carrots and turnips, medicine, lily of the valley. And if you're not sure what those things are, I also try to include some pictures of these items. So for coloring, what it is maybe for coloring of fabric or things like that. Those are some other things that roots are used for. So I'll leave that up for a moment. I'm also writing in my notebook. And then we'll move on. Okay, so we're going to move up the plant now. So above the roots are at the bottom, they're in the soil. Above the roots, we have the stem. Okay, so the purpose. The stem will carry water and nutrients from the roots up to the leaves. Oh, and by the way, I guess I should share this. If you did print out, of course, we started at the bottom. We started at number 4. We started at the bottom. And you would take the card that says, it has a blank line and says absorbs water and nutrients from the soil and draw them up to the rest of the plant. So on that blank line is where you would write roots. Or another way of doing it, in place of that number 4, you can write roots right on top of that too. Those are 2 options. And again, I made it like columns on this notebook. And over here, I mentioned some of the uses like food. And then I mentioned examples. I didn't just say food. I mentioned carrots and turnips. Okay, now we've moved on to stem. So another purpose of the stem is to hold the plant upright. Okay. Now, how do humans use stems? Well, food again. So some examples, and there's so many more examples out there, okay, are celery and asparagus. We call this the flax plant. Also has the ability to be used for cloth and medicine, such as aloe. So again, I try to share some pictures so you can be a little more familiar with the plants. But these are just some examples. There's so many more. Okay, now we're continuing up the plant. And I think my face, my picture in the window, might be right on top of that picture there. My apologies. Okay, so we're going up to the leaves. Okay. Making sure I'm labeling it. And of course, I'm keeping track of everything on the other side of the notebook. So leaves. What is their purpose? Have you ever thought about that before? Leaves are where the plant makes its food. So the previous class, we talked about how animals eat plants and other animals for their energy. That's how they get their food, but plants didn't need that. They make their own. So, and the process is called photosynthesis. And we will have another lesson that talks about the meaning of photosynthesis. Okay. And during photosynthesis, and that's a hard word to say, the plant takes in carbon dioxide and gives off oxygen. Okay, so I'm actually going to draw something else on my plant now. So I'm going to draw an arrow pointing into the leaf, and it's going to say carbon dioxide. And I'm going to draw an arrow coming out. This is oxygen. So just to add to my notes, I'm adding to my diagram actually. Okay, just showing that coming in and the going out. And this was also something that connects us into the last lesson. We talked about what plants need. Plants need carbon dioxide. Animals, like us, we are animals, need oxygen. So we need plants to give us that oxygen. Okay, uses. Oh my gosh, imagine that. Food again. And again, these are just some examples. There's also cabbage. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. Lettuce, tea, spinach. Like I said, I just threw in cabbage also. Sometimes when you're on the spot, you can't think of things. Okay, but these are just some examples. You can add more if you can think of them. Okay. And I guess, truthfully, someone could say herbs are also food. They're more of like a flavoring, nice flavoring, enhancing your food. And again, these are just some examples, and you don't have to list them all. I just said, could you please list at least one? Okay, and medicine. And that, by the way, is a picture of foxglove. The last part is the flower. Yeah, you could be as creative as you want with your flower, as colorful as you want with your flower. Okay. This is one thing that is going to be different than other plants. We are focusing on what we call a flowering plant. Okay, so the purpose of the flowers, that's where something called pollination takes place. Now again, I will go over pollination in another class. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on a lily. They're perfect for this. And this is where seeds will form. Okay. So uses. What do you think, guys? Haha, you thought I was going to put food, didn't you? No, people use flowers for decoration. Okay, because they look pretty or they smell pretty. Okay, I wouldn't let you down. Food as well. Yep. So yeah, here are some flowers that you're able to eat. Pansies, dianthus. And have you ever thought about it? The broccoli heads, those are flowers. But you never thought of it that way. Okay, so this is about what it should look like. I'm going to show you this in large view. Okay. But I want to go over the seeds. Okay, I do want to mention seeds. So yeah, there's a collection. You've also got impatiens in there and carnations. They are all edible. Okay, so seeds. The purpose of seeds is reproduction so that the plants will grow again. Okay, and we mentioned reproduction last time. You actually wrote down definitions, I hope, and it said to reproduce, to make more of its own, to lay eggs, produce seeds, or have babies. Well, obviously, plants are not laying eggs or having babies. That's the purpose of seeds. The seeds will help regrow that plant. Its uses? Food. That's how humans use it. Okay, we eat them. Nuts, sunflower seeds, peas, we eat them. So that's our lesson today, guys, going over the primary parts of plants. Okay, so we're going to take a look at our I can statements again. I have to move though to get closer to it. Okay, so our I can statement. I'm hoping you did do this. So I can label 4 primary parts of a flowering plant. Did we do that? I believe we did. Mine's labeled in color. I'd love to see your examples. Share in Flipgrid. I can write the purpose of each part. Did we do that here? Yes, I did. And if you printed it out, I'm hoping you lined them up in the right place here too, and you have the proper answers. Okay. And I can list at least one way humans use each part. Now, I listed more than one, but that's okay. I only asked you to list one, and I'm hoping you did. Again, same thing if your notebook was able to be printed out, just like that. So great job, guys. Next time, we're going to talk about the parts of humans.